Des Moines, and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. 7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 22nd day of October in the Lord's year 2015. I want to give you a heads up. I know I'm more than a week out on this, but I've got a pretty cool show next Friday. Do you know what next Friday is, Frank? Besides it being Friday? What day comes after Friday? Next Friday.
Saturday.
Well, what
Sabbath?
What day comes after next Friday? Do you know? Say you don't know if you don't.
I don't know.
All right. Next Saturday is Halloween.
Oh.
And so I had a nice woman who's in my life, Jeannie, ask me a question the other day, is what is a Christian's perspective on Halloween and how should we deal with it? And my good friend, Pastor Fritz Trost, will be on for the first hour of next Friday, not tomorrow, but next Friday, and talk about what an obedient Christian should think about Halloween and how we should or should not celebrate it.
Well, I understand that Satanists view Halloween much like Christians view Christmas.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But that doesn't mean that does it mean if we dress our kids up in funny costumes and they go door to door saying trick or treat, that's anti-Christian or that's blasphemy? Is it?
I think that's something that every Christian parent ought to address with some sincere thought and some sincere prayer.
Bob, did you you have 3 kids?
Yep.
Did you guys dress them up in outfits and take them out trick-or-treating?
When they were little, yes.
Well, I hope you wouldn't do it when they're 20.
Or they do it by themselves when they're 20.
Now they do it by themselves. Do you, as a devout Christian, have any challenges with Halloween and the way America has embraced it?
Yeah, well, I don't celebrate that in any way, shape,
You don't
form.
have candy out?
No.
No? Beggar's night?
No.
You don't turn the lights on?
No.
Don't put a pumpkin outside?
No.
You don't carve a pumpkin?
No.
When I was in grade school, we had a program where we went out and collected canned goods for the needy on Halloween night. And we was in an apartment building on Fleur Drive, and I noticed some people knocking on a door, and they had feet showing, but it was adults on their knees with feet on their knees for the costume, like they were little kids, but they were collecting trick or treat.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, isn't it?
I don't know, but we got kicked out of the apartment for.
But don't tell me what I don't want to know. I don't want to know your press criminal record.
No.
I just can't deal with it.
We was collecting canned goods for the needy, and that was somehow, it was okay to collect candy, but it wasn't okay to collect canned goods for the needy.
I see. All right. I want to tell you an interesting story, and I'm going to introduce you to a 24-year-old young lady by the name of Kahla Walters. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about something you don't know. So I was in Casey's the other day by my house, and I'm filling my car with gas, and in drives this vehicle, and the music's kind of loud, and the young woman gets out, and you've got some body art, tattoos, and you were collecting garbage out of your car, rather random. I'm assuming your car isn't kept very clean.
Yes, sir. I don't usually clean it every day.
Yeah.
Chronic pain can usually get in the way of a lot of little things like that. So it usually kind of depends on how I'm feeling.
Sure,
to
just
be
throw the
perfectly
trash
honest.
wherever it goes.
Pretty much,
Better
yeah.
than out the window, right?
Right, way better than littering,
Okay.
man.
So I have to admit, in front of you and in front of my God, I was making judgments. I wonder what's the deal with this young lady. You know, a little disheveled, throwing stuff away. And then you said to me, I love your car. And anybody who tells me, right, Frank, I mean,
Sure.
I got a problem with my car. I'm a car guy. I love my car. And she said the best thing she could say to me, I love your car.
Beautiful car.
And so automatically now I'm judging you as an incredibly intelligent person.
But let's do say the car's not currently beautiful.
Oh, she didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
She didn't know that. I got into an accident the next day.
Oh, I'm sorry if I jinxed you.
No, you didn't. So, Kahla.
Kayla.
Oh, Kahla. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Kahla, in this incredible way, just starts talking to me as if we've known each other for a very long time. And I'm finding myself, and I don't get the Holy Spirit completely all the time. God and me, we're good. Jesus and I think we've got a pretty good relationship. The Holy Spirit and I, we're trying to figure out how not to bump into each other all the time. But something's telling me to listen to Kahla. Because I want to go in, I want to pay for my gas, and I want to go home. It was after work, right?
If you say so.
I think it was like 5:30 or something. Or maybe, no.
It was late afternoon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And something told me, I call it a Romans 8:16 moment, when my spirit intertwines with the Holy Spirit and something makes me react in a way that only God can make me react. And I sat and listened to Kahla begin to tell me part of her story. And at some point, I don't know if you know that you said this, but you said, I love to share my story with people. I love to share my story because I think it can help other people.
100% correct,
Yeah.
Which is why I'm sitting here. A lot of people my age don't feel the same way about God that I do. And with what I've been through, it never hurts to shout that testimony out to somebody. You never know whose life it's going to touch. You never know who might look at their own life after hearing my testimony and say, hey, my life is not that bad and it's completely worth it. And I do believe the Lord puts you through certain things, trials and tribulations, to reach out and touch another person.
Yeah.
And if I even help one person with what I've been through, it will be absolutely worth it.
Yeah. And folks, I was moved. You almost moved me to tears, to be honest with you. And I'm kind of a soapy, a very emotional guy anyway. But when you said, I love to tell my story, well, that's the job I have.
Yes, sir.
I get the opportunity, the privilege of allowing people to come in and tell their story. And those words that you used convicted me that I was supposed to invite you to tell your story. So I gave her my card, and I said, if you'd like to tell your story, email me. And you said, I don't have an email that works right now. And I said, well, then text me on my phone. And it was just a few days later that you texted me. And then the guest I had scheduled today, Spencer, was supposed to come in, Kurloff, and he was unable to come. And God laid on my heart that this was the day for you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's
Appreciate
an honor.
Yeah, you bet. No, it's not an honor.
It is to me.
It's an honor that you're here. Seriously.
Anytime that I can do anything that I feel is the Lord's work is a huge honor. So
right.
To me, it's a huge honor.
And
Thank you.
You brought your mom along with you, Jody.
I did.
Jody doesn't want to talk, but at any time you would like to say something, just scoot up to the microphone and say something. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about you for a minute. When were you born? Well, you're 24 years old. Where were you born? Where's home?
Home is West Des Moines, but I was born in Davenport, Iowa at St. Luke's Hospital. And 4 or 5 days later, Jody and David Walters, who are my parents, and I'm proud to give their name, were destined, I guess, or you could say, it was just kind of in God's plan to come and pick me up and take me home.
They adopted you.
They adopted me. So it was, that's where it all kind of got started.
Do you know anything about your birth parents?
I know my birth mother's name and I know what she looks like.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I have no desire whatsoever to know this woman. I don't think anybody's ever known who my real father is. He's a ghost to me. And I believe I've already met my parents, one of them sitting next to me. And I don't believe blood makes a family. What makes a family is love and how you support each other. And, also to have that bond through Jesus and through God is also major. So there's a reason.
I'm adopted too, and I agree with you.
Amazing.
Do you find when you've come to the realization that God is your Father in heaven, does it make any difference who your earthly father is?
That's a good question. I believe that my Holy Father, God, gave me my earthly father to take care of me during this life here and to teach me about God and Jesus and the whole thing and how you get saved and how you use your faith in life. And I believe that they're both my father, but no matter what, God comes before anything, anyone in my life. He is my number one. But
the idea is God adopts everyone who's fatherless or motherless.
Sure. Yes, it's kind of a complex question.
Well, Romans makes it clear, and also I believe it's in Ephesians, how God does adopt us. We are adopted into his family. And we are either orphans, sons or daughters, or slaves, and it depends on what we choose. By the way, Nels said that next Saturday is also Reformation Day. Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses on the wall of the Catholic Church, the door of the Catholic Church, and therefore the first Protestant denomination was born.
A great moment in history.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You're going to hear more about Kahla Walters in a minute. She's a cancer survivor. She had a miscarried pregnancy, and she loves Jesus. And we're going to hear more of her story as we continue. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth. Yep, The Truth. 99.3.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
21 minutes after 4 o'clock on a peaceful Thursday afternoon across the plains of Iowa. I'm J. Michael McCoy from atop of the Merle Hay Mall Tower. We are broadcasting live here on the Webcast One Live studios on 99.3 The Truth. Frank's here, of course. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, is here, luckily. Ryan is producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and my special guest today is Kahla Walters, 24 years old. Adopted by her mom and dad when she was first born, and has spent the rest of your life here in Des Moines. Mm-hmm. Where'd you graduate from high school?
Walnut Creek.
What?
Walnut Creek Alternative School.
Walnut Creek Alternative. Yes. Okay. Were you a good student in high school?
No. I'm just going to be completely honest. And you said this is the truth, and I'm giving you the truth. Intelligently, book-wise, yes, but I didn't like authority, and I didn't like homework. So when people would give me homework, I'd just kind of look at them sideways and...
Forget it.
Right.
And so, but you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you said, you're book smart. You're not a dummy, but you don't like authority.
Right.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I don't know if it's genetic. I can't tell you if it's genetic. I don't know anything about my genetics. Or it could just be me.
Yeah.
I feel like there's only so much you can learn in school, but I feel like you learn more in that bigger schoolhouse called life.
So what kind of student were you? I mean, were you a cheerleader? Did you play sports?
I was athletic outside of school. I didn't really talk to a lot of people. I grew up being known as the rich girl. Everybody knew where I lived. Because I had an enormous house, everybody knew where I lived.
Yeah.
So that's how I grew up. I would tend to actually kind of avoid people like that because it can make you, confused as to who your friends really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't a cheerleader. I wasn't a hip, hip, hooray kind of girl. I just kind of kept to myself and just kind of stayed as far away from most people as I could, except for the people that really knew me.
Now, you go ahead, Frank.
You talk about having a difficulty dealing with authority. Have you found that difficulty in submitting to God?
No, that's probably, to answer your earlier question, I guess because I am so in touch with God and have such an intense, passionate relationship with Him, to me, it feels like that's the only authority that matters. So I guess that's probably why I don't tend to listen to any outside authority other than God Himself and my parents as best I can.
But you obviously didn't always listen to your parents.
Nope, I was not a perfect kid.
No, back up, Jack. You're far from perfect, right?
Very far, yes.
Okay, you were a troublemaker.
A little bit.
A little bit, not a lot?
Just a little bit. Not anything crazy, no.
All right. Now, let's talk about some of the unfortunate physical things that you suffer from.
Sure.
Tell me what they are.
Oh, I don't know where to start. The first thing that comes to mind is my fibromyalgia / EDS, which stands for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And it has given me a completely different outlook on life. But to kind of go back to where it all began was when I was 17, had my first knee surgery. I was a runner, so it damaged my knees a little bit. And after that, I noticed I kind of broke away from my faith when I was about 17.
Okay.
And as soon as I let go of God's hand, some pretty nasty things started happening to me.
All right, before we go there, all right, so fibromyalgia?
Myalgia, fibromyalgia.
All right, and what else?
And Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
What? Say that again.
Ehlers, it's
Ehlers?
Ehlers, Danlos, DANLOS.
Okay.
Syndrome.
And what's that?
When you're born with not very much elasticity in your joints, so it can cause your joints to contort and dislocate.
Oh.
And I've got it. And
are you one of those people that can consort yourself into?
I can touch my thumb to my forearm.
She just
and
touched her thumb to her forearm.
And yes, pretty much.
Was that ever cool?
No, because I didn't even know I could do it until last year when they asked me to do it.
Okay.
It was a trigger point test.
Is that like what they call double jointed?
Yes, it's one of the, yes, definitely.
All right.
Mhm.
You're
This
a
comes with
cancer
pain.
survivor.
Yes.
What kind of cancer did you have?
Stage 2B ovarian, and I still call it divine intervention because of where it was in the stage. By that point, they said it should have spread a lot further than it was, and only by the grace of God, they actually took it out. They just took the whole thing out. I never had to worry about it again, and it's actually connected to the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
All right. And how old were you when that happened?
I was 19.
19. So when did you discover the fibromyalgia?
Not until last year. We weren't sure what was wrong. I just kept getting flare-ups with really intense pain. Had no idea where it was coming from, and saw about 12 different doctors that all said nothing was wrong, and finally met one doctor who told me something was very wrong, and I have lots of nerve issues. So,
okay.
Last year.
You also lost a pregnancy.
Yes.
How old were you when that happened?
It was right before the diagnosis of my ovarian issues, and it was 18.
All right.
That was the first one. So there's two.
Did you lose the pregnancy because of the cancer?
No, I lost the pregnancy because my body wasn't able. I just wasn't strong enough to keep the babies going, and there were babies. It was twins.
Okay.
And one baby was receiving too much blood to the brain, and the other baby was not receiving enough.
Okay.
And it's rare, and they can't catch it until it's too late. And if they do, it can be fixed. But I believe that it happened for a reason. If that wouldn't have happened, I might not be here.
Because they discovered the stage 2 ovarian cancer.
Exactly.
Okay. God does work in mysterious ways.
He does.
Now, I want to go back to when you realized you had faith. You had shared you kind of lost it for all. But when did you realize that you and Jesus had a personal relationship?
I was about 12, 13. I just, I've been to church and all of that since I was little, but obviously little kids can't understand and really absorb what it means to be saved and to have faith and to try and share it with other people. But I did understand it at a fairly early age, 12, 13. It's about time.
Is where you went to church have a lot to do with that?
Absolutely. Cornerstone Family Church has been like a second backbone as far as my faith goes.
And your mom and dad are born again Christians.
Oh, yes.
And so you felt that at home.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that you were raised in a strict home?
No, not at all.
Not strict enough?
Not strict enough would be the way to put it.
Okay. So what was that guiding light that kept you on for the most part, the straight and narrow? Because you did well in high school. You finished. Okay, yeah, you didn't like authority. Seriously, who doesn't?
I don't think anyone does.
Well, and I will also tell you that the more people I meet in my life that are adopted, the more that is a characteristic of those people.
Definitely.
And I don't know how that is. But
it just is.
It just is. Somehow, not having that nurturing at such a young age does make a difference to kids that are adopted.
And I think I did have that nurturing, which is why it kind of separates me out a little bit being adopted. I have an unusually close relationship with my parents for an adopted child.
When did you know you were adopted?
As soon as I noticed that both of my parents were white, and I kind of kept asking when my dad was going to turn black because I understood that I was biracial. And I just didn't understand until I was about 4 or 5, really and truly understand. So I was like 5.
So you're biracial?
Yes.
Your mom was?
White. And
dad was?
Black.
Assuming black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's funny. I love that answer. Well, I was waiting for my dad to turn black.
It was a real answer. I would sit there and ask my mom, is dad ever going to turn black? I'm so confused. And then I figured out, that I came from other people and they just raised me. So it finally made sense.
I don't know if you can tell by listening to the radio or by watching the webcast. This is a wonderful child of God. This child has an amazing personality. You know that, don't you, Mom? You just beam. There was a reason we were supposed to meet that day in the Casey's parking.
Absolutely.
All right. So your faith is good. You're going to Cornerstone Church. You're listening to the gospel. You got a personal relationship with Jesus. But then you said something changed. Something fell apart.
Something fell apart. I don't know if it was adolescence or the crowd I was with. And it did take me a while to realize that I was hanging out with the wrong people. And it does make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
When you're hanging out with people that are going the wrong way. And I think the problems with my health is what saved me, because without that, that's honestly what kind of made me get my faith back. When your life is threatened, it makes you think, wow, what if I would have passed away from this? Where would I go? And it makes you think really hard.
What, were you ever mad at God?
No, never mad at God. The way I took it was, okay, I'm listening. I got it.
Okay.
I got the attention, and you've got the attention, and I'm definitely figuring it out.
Now, you've been very kind to give so many kudos, congratulations, thanks to your mom and dad.
Oh, yeah.
Youth pastor in there also? A regular pastor?
A regular
girlfriend?
pastor, Pastor Dan Barry.
Okay.
A great guy. I've learned so much from him. And him and his wife, Ann, are just excellent people in their faith, and they preach it to you so you can understand it, and they let you know everyone's going to make mistakes. They don't expect you to be perfect, and they're just the kind of people you want to learn from when you're growing up, for sure.
Now, do you have siblings?
Oh, yes. I have siblings. I've got a few sisters, and I have one biological sister I know about. We just don't get along.
Oh, you know about, but you don't get along. Well, that's okay.
We don't get along. We've tried, but
Is she older or younger?
She's about a year and a half older.
Okay. And so, and I know you're not in front of a microphone, but did you adopt? Are you the only adopted?
Yes.
Okay. And then there are 3 biological children?
2.
2. Okay. And did you ever feel different from them because you were adopted, or more because of the color of your skin?
That was really the only thing that made me feel set apart, was the color of my skin, but it really never was an issue. I still felt like they were my family. I still feel as if they are my family, because they are. They are my family. So, no, not too different.
Well, this is a tough question. Did you ever experience racism?
No, actually. That is one thing I didn't endure, was anything harsh or anything like that, ever. It was a little weird with being adopted, with people commenting on maybe me being adopted, but my race, no, never was an issue.
All right, good. All right, we're going to take our next break. Our guest is Kahla Walters. She's 24 years old. She suffers from several personal, physical, and biological ailments, but you'd never know it from her attitude. She has survived cancer. She has lost a pregnancy. And through all of that, she has become a stronger and more faithful follower of Jesus Christ. And her story is amazing, and we're going to get to the rest of it when we come back. Frank is here. You guys are being rather quiet over there. Don't you have anything you want to?
It gives more time.
I don't really give them much chance to talk.
It gives more time to hear.
Okay, well, you got to ask a question next, Robert. I expect a question out of you. You do. In fact, we're not even going to do anything when we come back from the break until Bob asks a question. All right? Ryan is producing. I'm Mac. We're coming back live here on Mac's World on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fix them problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Oh, welcome back to Max World Live. This is Bob Montserrat, Cat in a Hat. And Max said he wasn't going to say anything until I asked the question because he wants me to speak. And my philosophy is when we have a guest, I want to give that guest enough time to get the entire story out. That's my thing. So, and I only ask questions when I think, I have something that is substantial because I don't really like to hear myself talk. I'm just saying. Anyway.
I do.
He isn't related to me and Tom Coates.
So are you going to ask a question?
Be related. There's no way to know.
Yes. Yeah, actually, the question that came to my mind, and I know you had one, but I was thinking of, there was a point in your life where was there a point in your life when you became rebellious towards your parents?
I don't really know. Because I guess that would be an insider looking out.
So
that's a question for my mom.
So your mom would know.
Mom's shaking her head yes.
Yeah, Mom doesn't want to talk, but Mom's shaking her head yes.
There was a point in my life, I'm sure, where there was a rebellious point. I've always had a little bit of a rebellious nature, though, just a little.
But were you as rebellious as your other siblings?
I don't know. I really don't.
Mom?
No. I can say
Yes.
I can say no for sure.
So all the siblings were rebellious, but she was the worst. Is that what you're telling me?
Mom.
Now she's not saying anything.
Amy is the I would not hurt you. Get out.
Push her over. All right. But now let's talk about some hard stuff.
Okay.
You've had 2 pregnancies.
Yes. Failed.
2 different men?
No.
Same guy?
person.
Okay. Is that man in your life today?
No.
No. So you've been sexually active.
Sure.
For some time.
Mm-hmm.
How did you fit that into your faith and walk with Jesus?
Oh, believe me, there was a big amount of guilt, and I still feel guilty about it because I know better. But the human part of me is still going to make mistakes.
Yeah, still going to sin.
Right, but all that matters is that the man upstairs knows my heart, he knows me, and he knows I'm sorry.
And by the way, if I can preach for a second.
Absolutely.
Don't feel guilty. You know where guilt comes from?
The devil.
Yeah. God does not want you to feel guilty.
Right.
He has forgiven you long before you even thought about forgiveness.
Right.
So it's the devil that makes you feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give him that pleasure.
I try not to give him anything.
Don't give him that. Okay, that's one thing you can do is by stopping him to put that committee rolling around in your head that makes you think you're not good enough. Because God says you are my daughter. He loves you no matter what. And with Jesus in your life, you shall forevermore be forgiven and spend eternity with him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the devil can't stop that unless you let him.
Oh, I don't let him. Okay. I don't let him into my life at all.
All right. Good.
You cleared something up for me off air because I thought I guess I didn't distinguish that you were mentioning ovarian cancer as opposed to cervical.
Right.
And you were saying how this EDS plays into this ovarian cancer. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I can actually do this in a nutshell to make it really easy for people to understand. People that have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it is an incredibly rare disorder. Not very many people have this. You're born with it. It's a genetics thing. You just have to deal with it. And it sometimes can design the body to attack itself. So my immune system, all of my protective defenses are not as strong as they're supposed to be. And there's actually a link between EDS and the hormonal part of your working. And cervical cancer can come from being sexually active too young, especially like unprotected or just not being healthy about it. So mine was completely from this issue I have now in my joints. That's probably the best way I could describe it quickly.
Yeah, and you can't see Kahla, but she has beautiful long fingers, but your last joint is disjointed.
Oh, yes. I have...
Yeah, she can do that thing.
And it actually hurts. I mean, it's I might have pretty hands, but they hurt all the time. I feel like I'm 24, but when I'm walking or even sleeping, I have pain, an incredible amount of pain, and I feel like crap a lot of the time.
So how old do you feel?
I guess I could say old enough to need a walker. So however old you think that is.
So you feel elderly physically?
I do feel physically, yes, the truth.
Will that get better or worse?
They say that it's something that never goes away. It's just something you kind of have to accept. I don't want it to get worse, so I'll do whatever I can to prevent it from getting worse, but yes, it can.
What can you do to prevent it from getting worse?
Keep yourself moving, stay active, try and stretch, what you're eating, vitamins. There's, your health is a big deal, and when you put garbage and junk and grease and stuff into your diet, it's not going to help anything. So by eating right and not drinking a ton of soda all the time, stuff like that makes a huge difference.
So
and it does.
Is there foods that is recommended you stay away from?
They say that organic, to go completely 100% organic is like the best thing that you can do. But I tried that and it didn't make any difference to me. But soda is the thing that they do tell you to stay away from.
Well, for instant sugar, is that something they recommend? That does sugar?
I mean, is it soda or is it sugar?
It's the soda. It's the carbonation.
Oh, okay.
That I guess leaches the calcium from the bones, and I'd imagine the sugar probably plays a role in it too.
Do you take a calcium supplement?
Yes.
Do you drink
vitamin D and yes.
Drink a lot of milk?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge milk drinker.
Okay. All right. Good. Our guest is Kahla Walters, 24 years old, a cancer survivor. During a pregnancy, discovered she had stage 2 ovarian cancer. And are you cancer-free now?
Yes, and it's 5 years in remission in 2 months.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a blessing.
So you were 19.
19.
You've really gone through a lot as a young person, haven't you?
In a short amount of time, yes. Now, unusual.
Did you know you had cancer before you knew about the fibromyalgia?
Oh yes, it was definitely all before I even knew I had the fibromyalgia. Yes, I didn't know that.
So that all came after.
After.
Wow.
And to be honest, it seems like the pain started to get worse when my relationship with God got stronger. And my mom and dad and I talk about this a lot. And I said one day, Mom, can the devil attack me physically? And she said, yes, like Job. She compared me to Job. And it made me think.
That's a compliment, you know.
I'll accept that as a compliment.
Okay, good.
But I think that as I got older, my relationship and my mental status with God and how I feel about it, and I really don't care what people think about me and my relationship with God. I just don't. I'll try to witness to who I can. I just simply don't care.
I mean, you're here today because you were bold enough to witness to an elderly man in a Casey's driving park lot. You know.
I care a lot. And, you know, I don't do that with everybody. But something just kind of felt like there was a connection, like a kindred connection. Best way I could describe it.
Do you feel satanic oppression?
What? Say that. Who? What?
Do you feel that you're being satanically oppressed at times?
Sometimes, yes. When I have like I was telling you earlier off of there, when I have these flare-ups of extra amounts of pain, I will have my parents lay hands on me and pray. And, you know, if it doesn't work right away and I'm alone, I'll just say, hey, it's me and you, Lord. Take this away from me. And I'll rebuke Satan out of my body. And just a few nights ago, Sunday evening, I did it. And not even 5 minutes later, I felt like there was an ominous, deep, like cloud that felt like there was around me. Not just the pain, but like a feeling. Yes.
It lifted
and
from
it
you.
just lifted from me.
All right, we're coming back. Last break. We're live here on 99.3. Her name is Kahla Walters, and she is a special daughter of God. The rest of the story next.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
All right, 10 minutes for the top of the hour. Hank, the Bible Answer Man, coming up next. Tomorrow, Kevin E. Johnson, Pastor Kevin, will be here as we continue our conversation on Revelation. I think he's scheduled, well, he may be scheduled for like the rest of the 2 years we've got.
Yes, because it'll take that long to go through Revelation.
Yeah. And so it's kind of an on-air Bible study. And, of course, Chris Roloff will probably be here. You know, I don't think Chris is listening, is he? I think he's all right. You know, he has every right to be on this radio show whenever he wants. because it's his station. But I enjoy working with him. Don't you guys? I think he adds a lot.
You enjoy giving him the business.
Well, he, like somebody else I know, he deserves the business, Mr. The Verse.
This is true.
But and because you two are not completely lined up theologically.
No, but we do agree on a lot of things.
Well, you agree on the essentials, and that's at the foot of the cross. Too many feet away from the foot of the cross, you're not exactly in tune. But, Frank, we have hope for you.
Oh, okay.
We do have hope for you.
That's why your church is named Hope.
That's right. Kahla Walters is my guest today, 24 years old. I'm in a Casey's parking lot. I'm getting gas in my car, and this young lady pulls up. I'd never met her before. There was nothing that would make me want to go up and talk to her or anything. She makes a comment about the car I'm driving, which is the quickest way to my heart. See, most men say food. No, it's my car. And we just struck up this conversation, and at some point in the conversation, she talks about Jesus openly. And she says, she says something about, I'd love to tell my story. Well, when somebody tells me I'd love to tell my story, that's my signal that God has once again brought somebody up beside me that I'm supposed to give them access to this wonderful gift I have called a radio show and let her tell her story. And that's what she's doing today.
I was just going to say, and you just happen to be a radio host.
Coincidence is God's way of what? Revealing himself.
God's good, isn't he?
He is wonderful. He is amazing. So, 24, you are 5 years cancer-free.
Uh-huh.
You are learning to live with your fibromyalgia.
It's fibromyalgia.
Algia, okay.
It's a word to learn.
And your Ehlers-Danlos
syndrome.
Okay. So what's the rest of your life? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to,
Right now, that's a tough question with my physical limitation. It's hard to, there were so many things lined up, and then this happened, and when you can't walk 2 blocks without crying, it kind of makes that hard. But I feel like God's going to start putting it all into perspective for me, and I think he wants me to do his work just in a different way. I'm looking for that purpose.
Does the medical professionals give you any prognosis of what's going to happen to you in 5 years?
They just tell me the same thing. Try and manage your pain and deal with it.
But I mean, do they say things like wheelchair? Do they talk about that this is going to deteriorate to the point where of immobility, or do they?
I'm already immobile pretty bad. It looks like I walk okay, but it's already getting pretty nasty. But they usually avoid that. They usually just kind of won't tell me if it's going to get worse or not. So I never really know. It's just a question mark.
With all these things going on in your life, is there any sign of depression on your part that?
Sometimes. I'll be 100% honest, when something like this is going on physically and mentally wears you down. And then when I feel sad or depressed or whatever, crank up some Bob Marley or some Pink Floyd or some classic rock music, and I will be fine.
Well, now
and
there we
prayer
go.
Too.
I guess she's got her mother's influence in music. Huh?
You would think so, but this lady right here doesn't even listen to music.
When you mention Pink Floyd, you're okay with me.
Okay, well then that is just.
Well, now how did you learn about classic rock from the 60s and 70s?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Because I was born in the wrong time, and mentally you and I are the same age.
Okay. No, I can buy that. I've always been an older soul. Frank Sinatra's my favorite.
Yes.
I always thought if I'd been born back then, I would have been a lounge singer rather than a lounge lizard. So do you hope to have other children?
Yes, I absolutely do, so I could teach them about Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd and Joe Walsh and, of course, the number one man, God and Jesus. And I would love to turn another little person into me.
How about Reba McEntire or Garth Brooks?
I can't say I'm a fan of country because that would be the biggest lie I've ever told.
How about contemporary Christian music?
Sure.
It
just kind of depends on the band, but yeah, I like Christian music.
Well, what do you think about what happened in 98.3 going to classic hip hop?
I don't like hip hop. Any kind of hip hop.
Do you find those terms contradictory? Classic and hip hop.
I absolutely do, because classic, when I think classic, like Mr. McCoy said, you think Sinatra, you think Led Zeppelin, you think
That's why I like this girl.
You think the good stuff. And when my friends say, how come you don't like rap music, or how come you don't like hip hop? And I said, have you heard what they say?
Yeah.
It is literally demeaning to not just women, but to everybody.
Have you thought about seminary?
No.
Why
I've never
not?
thought about it.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess maybe I just...
I mean, you'd be a heck of a preacher.
Well,
You've already
I guess-
got it in you. I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about whether Jesus would call you or not.
Oh, no, I think you're right. I think preaching somewhere along the line, maybe being a counselor. I always love helping people.
Yeah.
So maybe counseling, Christian counseling would be good. And, I mean, there's one thing to sit in an office and listen to someone's issues and give them advice. But when you're listening to somebody's issues and they're in the church and you can give them godly advice, it's going to work 10 times better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, yeah.
So if you could wave your magic wand and do anything for a living, anything, what would you do?
That is a really good question. I would love to be a general surgeon.
Really?
Yes.
So why don't you go do it?
Because I can't stand at an OR table long enough. I can't stand up for 5 minutes without crying. So how would I stand through a 7-hour surgery?
I don't know. Maybe God had somehow...
But, if I had a magic wand, then I would give myself new legs.
All right, now before we leave, I have to ask one more question.
Go for it.
Is that Weird Al Yankovic on your watch?
This is Bob Marley on my watch.
Okay. Upside down, it looks a lot like Weird Al Yankovic.
I guess it kind of does.
It does. For me, I've been looking at it all hour going, is that weird? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, my daughter's a Bob Marley fan also.
Is she?
Yes.
That's good.
All the best people are, right?
And the thing
Bob
is,
Marley and me go way back.
and the other thing is, I never heard anybody call him Mr. McCoy. Never.
Wasn't that nice of her?
It's
Absolutely.
a respect thing.
Now you call me Mac.
Okay,
From now on.
Okay, Mac.
Mac, right, okay. Mom Jody, thanks for being here. What a great support you are. I would have loved to have you on the radio. Maybe someday you'll come back with your daughter and we'll talk about some of those things. You are a treasure.
Thank you.
I want to tell you that anytime you want to come here on this radio show and be a guest host, Frank will get out of his chair. Anytime. You have a wonderful radio personality. I want you to know that. You have a great voice.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that. All right, I got to run. I'll see you tomorrow. Tonight, will you forgive somebody that you've been holding a resentment against for so many years you can't even think about it anymore? So tonight, forgive as you will be forgiven. I'll see you at church.